So, have you been enjoying your time abroad?
Well, James came back when he'd been before full of enthusiasm for the place and the people and what was happening in squash, and so obviously I came here full of expectation and
high expectations.
Not necessarily high expectation, but I would say generally it's lived up to that. I think this is incredible in a developing country where squash isn't developed. We've got a glass court and a square. The enthusiasm and everything that's going around is what Poland requires now to get the game, but it's whoever's created all this has done a wonderful job. And I coached the children, and they were all talented and well behaved, and so they would quickly be good with the systems in place and the right coaching. They would quickly become good players. But obviously in an emerging country like Poland, it takes maybe 6, 7, 8 years. You can't just switch on with a 10-year-old overnight and become a world player. It takes time. So they can be good, providing they get the right. The 3 or 4 players that I coached that would thrive if they were with me at home. They would thrive and they would rapidly advance, because in England obviously the games have been played longer and it's more developed. But this is all very exciting, and I'm sure Poland's on its way, which is what we want. Eastern Europe. We want Eastern Europe, China and South America. In a lot of places the game is too expensive. It's too expensive in South America, too expensive in India, and here probably as well, I would guess. So it needs to become opened up to all people, so it's made inexpensive. That will happen. It was in England, it was expensive and very privileged. Now that's not the case.
Yeah, I think it's not that bad here, because it's really a sport for the majority of them trying to sell it like that.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
As far as prices go, at least.
It's okay. Well, I mean, I was just talking to a coach today. I was at a club.
Yeah.
I think he said 300 kilometres away from here, and he was saying there that the owner there wasn't receptive to that sort of thinking and was more concerned with making money. But that will apply. That will, depends. Yeah. But it is important that it's accessible to as many people as possible.
Of course.
Whatever the income thing.
So as you said, you coached coaches in South America, and I think you also did that a bit this week in Poland.
I've done that in I've coached.
Because you've been
I did three
lectures?
Presentations to the World Coaching thing, but I'd like Poland to be good. I'd like Eastern Europeans are very good at tennis. They're racket players, and they've proved that. So they can be good at squash, won't they? It's a certainty. It just takes time and the right systems. But this is all going in the right direction, isn't it?
Foreign players come here, and they always say we have the infrastructure, we have the venues, but we still don't have the players. That's probably the missing link. You
have the players, because those 3 kids that I taught would make very good players.
Really?
So
how old were they?
10 or 11. One's the under 11 champion. One's number 2 under 13.
Okay.
Another little boy that played James tonight, I don't know, but he's good as well. They would. If I had them in England, those would be good enough. Not now, because my 11-year-old would beat all 3 of them. But the fact is, if they were in that environment, more developed, they would be good enough to play for England, maybe at junior level. But they're that standard. But they're not going to get the sort of coaching that will progress them there very quickly. But they've got the ability. That's the first requirement. Those children have the ability. So you need coaches that can take them forward, which is not easy. There aren't coaches everywhere that can do that. And you need, if this is part of the way we're going, this will inspire children, won't it? They're sitting watching. They've seen Greg Gaultier. They've seen Jen. It all makes them want to do it. In the end, players need to come to places where the game is developed. So I've had players this year from 14 countries who've come to work with me. They can get match play, lots of tournaments in England. There's loads of stuff available. A lot of players, when they come, haven't got the background. They haven't played enough matches. They haven't played leagues. And they're all important as well. But those 3 boys are good. I mean, I'm saying they're good. They're seriously good players. They're all good, the children, but those 3 are particularly good. And I would love to coach them. If they're with me every day, that would be good. But they can always come and stay with me if they're playing in England, or if they're playing the British Junior Open is quite near. It's about half an hour away. So if they want to come and prepare there, like a lot of players do that, they're welcome. They're nice boys and they're good players.
How long do you think it would take Poland to produce a top 50 player? I don't know.
Top 50? No, that needn't be too long. I mean, if they were in the right hands, they might be that sort of talent, but they need to be doing it now. All right, but they've got that sort of ability. But then you want to know that they want to do it, that they've got the right coaching, they're working hard enough, the parents are in support. Lots of factors come into it, but they're of the talent that could make that talent, without a doubt. So no, I wouldn't like to say, because I don't know enough about what coaching's available, but on talent, there's no question that you've got the kids are talent, so it's a question of utilising that, maximising that talent. But you will get players. There will be a day when Poland have played in the top 50. How long that is, I can't make a particularly good judgment. But this all helps fantastically.
Yeah, because this is like the first generation really that starts.
And then they see Gregory Gaultier and they go on court and they think, I would like to do this, don't they? Think I would like to be like. When James was 8, I sat with him at the British Championship or at a big tournament, and the player came on to music, announced on, not like it's a bit random here, but we're announced on, and James said to me, I would like to do that.
Would you say what, in your opinion, constitutes a good coach? You know, a coach who can develop a world-class player? I don't know what your lectures were about this week, but maybe one of them.
No,
you probably pointed out some.
No, I mean, I talked about state of the game, recognising talent was another.
Yeah, so you have to have that.
Yeah, you have to recognise and then have the ability to take them that far, haven't you? I don't know. There are not many coaches that can. I've been lucky that I've had 2. I think there've been 17 world number ones. 2 of them have been mine. But you also need luck to get those people, because they're unusual people with unusual talent and the right attitudes. So you might be a very good coach and they never come your way. It's luck. That part of it is luck. I've been lucky. I've had 2.
Okay, so you have to recognise them. You have to be lucky.
But then, having been lucky, I was able to get them there. That's the other bit.
So this ability, you know, because you said you saw some players who have talent.
Yeah.
And I guess there were also coaches, you know, with a guiding.
Guidance. I create coaches because my stepson is the England national coach, David Campion. He's my stepson. He obviously grew up with me. He's James' brother. He got to the final of the World Under-19. He was a very good player but had injury problems. Then Andrew Cross is the Malaysian coach. He's one of mine. Paul Hornsby is the New Zealand national coach. He was with me for 7 or 8 years. So out of my system, coaches develop people who love the game and have the ability. So everywhere I've got a team of coaches now that are very good, and 2 of them have just been appointed to clubs in England, young men, 22. That's how it works. So of those, one's the New Zealand national coach, so he must be quite good, mustn't he? And then Andrew Cross, Malaysian players are good, so he must be good. So, but that comes out of the system, the way we work, and so the coach must love it first, must love doing it, must love the game. Secondly, he must be enthusiastic, then not coach purely for money.
Okay, that's important as well.
A lot of those about who just do it for money. So love it first, earn a living second, not the other way around, or where you won't love it if you. But coaches generally go to America if they want to make loads of money, because they charge a lot of money there. So what makes it? I don't know. I mean, I've worked in sport all my life. I've played sport. I don't really. I mean, I'm influenced by other coaches. I've worked with a lot of good, and not just in squash. There's nobody in squash that I would say that I've sort of learnt massive. But one of my closest friends is a rugby coach in England, a professional rugby coach, an Australian. A very close friend. He's very successful, and he's the best coach I've ever met in any sport. So I learned from him. I talked to him. I watched him work. Yeah, intersport. Yeah. I mean, I think for coaches, watch coaches from other sports if you're lucky to have contact with them, and then if you decide they're good, listen to them, like I have done to him. And he's very successful. He's a wonderful guy, wonderful coach. So my relationship with him over the past 6 or 7 years, he thinks he learns something from me, but he doesn't really. It's the other way around. And I've been lucky. I've met a few like that in my life, but you have to know who the good ones are. It's a learning thing, and you never stop learning. I think one thing I'm quite good at is I'm adaptable. So when games change, like 11 scoring, I'm quick to get onto that. I don't think, well, I did it that way and it was good, and I never think like that. I'm always looking for what's required, how the game changes. I think that's one of my better things.
Yeah, because if you know, even that lecture about the state of the game, you know, it's changing all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
And as you said,
life changes, everything changes. Look, everything develops, doesn't it? And I think go with it. If you get left, if you're successful in 1980 and you produce players, and you think that's good enough in 2014, it's not, because everything will change. So you've got to go with the changes, recognise it. I think that's an important thing for a coach in any sport. I coached other sports successfully as well. I mean, I produced international rugby players and cricketers as well. So, but squash was my main love. But at the same time, I can't do anything else in life. I'm useless, more or less. James will tell you that. But I found that I could coach sport. So I gave my life to that, because if you're lucky to find something you can do it. All right?
If you find it.
Because I can't do anything else. I'm hopeless. James will tell you that.
You have no choice, okay.
No, yeah, I know. Well, I had, because I could have stayed in teaching. Oh, yeah. I've got a degree in English and French, so okay. I could have carried on teaching, and everybody would have. But when I turned professional, I was, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? But because I found out I could do that better than teach, better than anything else I've done in life. Yeah. I am useless generally. I'm not kidding. I'm generally useless. James will tell you that. But coaching sport, that's what I can do.
Yes, you do seem to accept it, though.
No, I like it. I'd rather,
like it.
Yeah, because I'd rather be good at one thing than just moderate in lots of areas of life. Yeah, so I went with that. And no regrets. I've travelled the world. I've had 2 world number ones. 3 sons have all played for England. What can you say? I mean, my first son. At the time, let me tell you this. My first son was 3rd world under 19, finished 3rd. The second one, David, champion, national coach, was 2nd, and then James finally won in Chennai. So it took me 3 sons to get there, didn't it?
Yeah, you got it right.
It took me time, didn't it? Well, I mean, I've had a great life out of the game. I still love it. I've got this 11-year-old I've got loads of good players, 5 players playing for England under junior level at the moment. But this little boy is the most exciting player in England since James. So I've had 2 well on this. Suddenly I've found another one of that calibre. That's love. That's love. That's right. Because his dad owns the club, and he's big and fat and alcoholic. And the mum.
The dad. The
dad's a good guy. He's the owner of the club. He's a good guy, but I call him fat, and he drinks a lot. So, and the wife is a lovely woman, but she's not a squash player. Suddenly they've got this freak of a kid who is a genius on the squash court. I don't know where he came from. I just tell him it proves what a good coach I am, that I can help their son who. When they look like that, to become a player. Okay, that's my story.
He would do all right with probably.
Remember his name? He's called Sam Todd. He'll be a famous player.
Sam Todd.
Yeah, Sam Todd. He'll be a famous player. 11. Yeah, he's the English. He won the English under 13 championship on his 11th birthday. Okay. So that's 2 years early. He's played for England under 13 when he was 9. He's played 2 years for England now, and he hasn't lost. In France and in Prague, and he hasn't lost yet.
As an international player?
Yeah, against other countries, France. Wait, not his age group, he's 9, playing under 13, giving 3 years away, and he hasn't lost. And he's the English under 13 champion, so he's 2 years young, and he's the top player in England. He's ranked number 1 in England. He plays under 15 tons. He's not big. He's not a great big boy or anything. Just a nicely built fellow. So he's very good, seriously good. But then you're lucky if you meet those, aren't you?
Yeah, you mentioned Commonwealth Games. So how is your son's preparation?
Well, I mean, we've got 3 weeks or so before that now, and it's very important, the Commonwealth Games, for medals, for then funding from central bodies. James has had a little bit of a few injury niggles, and this isn't ideal, playing cold at midnight. That's not what you'd choose to do, but he's bearing it, and happily he's had a couple of decent games, because he'd only just come out of the injury phase, and he got through, and he no repercussions, so I'm happy with it so far. It's good. It's a wonderful event. Apparently it's got a great friendly feel about it. It's not as big as the Olympics, so it's rather friendlier. So he's been to 2 before, he wants to be there, and so we've got to keep him injury free and make sure and that's the worry here, because of the late night and the cold. And then they did a presentation, so he D1 had to start again. That's the sort of thing that causes injury.
Yeah, but it does happen everywhere.
No, it doesn't. No, not like that.
Not like that?
No, not with world players.
Okay.
What they need to do here,
Yep.
and I'm not criticising anyway, they need to pay more attention to the players' needs when they're of that standard. Well, any standard, but particularly that standard, because he's getting ready for something highly significant in England terms, Commonwealth terms. Greg is world number one, so you can't mess them about where you're risking injuries. You can't do that. And here, that's not being done. But that's because you're a learning country. So
that's another thing we have to have to do.
Try and put right.
As we said before yesterday, I think, about the squash culture.
Exactly. No, I'm not. I'm making a comment, not in criticism, but more to help, because everybody appreciates having them here, and they feel welcome and they're appreciated. But you have to look after them so that they know when they're going on, so they don't warm up twice. Try not to get them on too late at night if it's possible, because that's not good. He finished at 4 a.m, didn't he, last time, I think, here, something like that.
Yeah, well, we won't this time,
No, it'll be about 2 o'clock, then we've got a flight at 6:40, so that's all right. No, I don't want to get any misconception. I've loved being here, and people have been lovely and friendly. I think this is wonderful, and Poland will get there, but I wouldn't like to say how long, so I don't know enough about how it works, but you've got some talented children, definitely, without a doubt.